I'm John Darling, and I'm a consultant here at IBM. Let's go ahead and get to the first slide. Today we're going to be going over SmartList Builder for Dynamics GP, and we'll cover what SmartList Builder is, why you want to use it, and how you use it. SmartList Builder is available for GP 10.0, 2010, and 2013. It lets you create new smart lists and modify the existing smart lists that come with GP by default. And one of the advantages of a SmartList Builder is that you can use data from standard GP tables, your third-party ISV tables, SQL views, SQL tables, or existing smart lists. And something that you might have seen if you've done a little bit of research on SmartList Builder in advance of this webinar is that until GP 2013 Service Pack 2, SmartList Builder was actually included in the GP 2013 install media, and that has changed as of January of last year. Microsoft turned over development and support of SmartList Builder to E1, who makes Extender, which you might be familiar with for developing custom GP windows, and SmartConnect, which is a really handy integration tool that you can use to bring data from anywhere into GP. And so Dynamics GP now comes with SmartList Designer, which does some of the same things as SmartList Builder, but it's a lot less feature-rich. You can bring in data from a lot fewer sources, then there's really not as much as control as you would have with SmartList Builder. And so it's still a very popular ISV, and even though it's no longer under the Microsoft umbrella for development and support, E1 will continue to support existing SmartList Builder customers in GP 2013, as well as any new additional users who would like to purchase SmartList Builder. And you might be wondering if you already have SmartList Builder, and luckily there's a really easy way to tell. If you open up Dynamics GP and go to the Microsoft Dynamics GP menu, and go to Tools, and then under Setup, Utilities, and Routines, you will see SmartList Builder listed if you are licensed for it and if that module has been installed. If you don't have SmartList Builder and you would like it, please contact your IBIS sales representative and we can check your license keys to see if maybe you already have it but it's just not activated for GP, or if you don't have it, we can definitely talk with you about getting that for your system. And you might be wondering why you want to use SmartList Builder. Why is it so much better than just the default SmartList module that you're already familiar with in GP? And there are a lot of reasons. The number one reason being that the standard SmartLists usually aren't adequate. You've probably had some experience with adding columns, or maybe you've tried to create some SmartLists and found out it didn't get all the data you were expecting. And so if it's not relevant to you and your users, the default SmartList, you probably get a lot of utility out of SmartList Builder. And maybe you have some custom SQL tables from your third parties, or just data that's outside of GP, and you'd like to include that within GP in an easy to navigate and easy to use way. And so SmartList Builder is great for pulling in data outside of the standard GP tables. And the regular SmartList, there is some security included with Dynamics GP for the default SmartList module, but SmartList Builder allows a lot more granular control with the layout and security of SmartList, ordering what you'd like to display by default, columns, the data, and who can see it. There's just a plethora of options in SmartList Builder that you don't have with the normal SmartList that is a great additional feature. In addition to multi-company SmartLists, by default, your SmartLists are just going to be one company, and instead of duplicating your efforts creating the same SmartList or viewing the same SmartList for different companies, the SmartList Builder, it's easy to make them multi-company and roll those into one SmartList to save you some time. And like I mentioned before, SmartList Builder integrates really well with E1 Extender. And so if you've used Extender to create custom GP windows, you can pull in fields from those windows into your SmartList and really take your SmartList to the next level by leveraging your ISVs. And so, if you know GP, like I said, you already know SmartList, but if you know SmartList, you know that it could be better and it could be more relevant if you could customize it just a bit more. And now we get to this fun part. How do I use SmartList Builder? This is the default SmartList Builder window. As you can see, it's nothing too scary. It's a pretty familiar interface. It's very well integrated with GP. The standard fields and lookups are all there. And the required fields are listed here in red. This screenshot is taken from the Fabricam sample company. You can see that we need to have a SmartList ID, similar to how you always need a purchase order number or an item ID for an inventory item. And so when you create a SmartList, you enter in an item ID and you enter in a friendly SmartList name. So when you're looking it up, the SmartList name will display instead of the ID just to make it a little more user-friendly. The item name defaults from the SmartList name. We usually leave that the same. Of course, you can give it a different item name if you like. In product, you can select Microsoft Dynamics GP, field service, any installed product that interfaces with GP. For the demo we're doing in just a minute, we're using field service, and so the screenshot just shows the field service product selected. And in series, if you have selected the Dynamics GP product in the product field, series will show you financial, sales, system, purchasing, all the normal GP modules that you're familiar with. You can select series there and return tables for only that series to narrow down your list and make it a little bit more manageable. And the tables here, this window below shows us the tables we have selected, and you can also link tables together. I'll be showing you that in the demo, and select which ones you'd like to display and which ones you'd like to display by default. And the menu bar up above lets you save, and the clear button will clear in any fields that you've populated if you've made a mistake or you'd like to start over. You can use clear similar to other windows in GP. You can reorder columns, set restrictions, calculations. Those are all more advanced features in SmartList that we don't have time to get into for the demo, but Microsoft's documentation will go into more depth on those additional buttons. So let's go ahead and get to the demo. I'm going to show you how to create a SmartList with SmartList Builder for field service to show you your technicians that are assigned to a geographical area. And you might not use field service, or maybe you do. This is a good example of a real-world scenario that is easy to conceptualize but difficult to turn into manageable data in GP without using SmartList Builder. And so that's one of the beauties of the expansive amount of tables and data you can pull into SmartList Builder. So you can think of a scenario, and if you just know the table names and the fields from the table, you can turn it into some data that you can export to Excel and view easily. And so I'll go ahead and switch us over to my Dynamics GP test installation here. Okay, now you see the familiar Dynamics GP home screen. And we'll go ahead and navigate over to SmartList Builder by going to Microsoft Dynamics GP, Tools, and SmartList Builder. We'll go ahead and give our SmartList an ID of Technician Service Areas. Give it a name. Once we tab through, the item name will default. For product, we're using field service. And now it's time to add in our first table. And the end result that we're looking for here in our SmartList is information on our technicians, but also what their service area is. A scenario that this might be useful for is if you're an electrical service company and you know there's a tornado headed for the Midwest, or there's severe weather or some other event for a certain geographical area, you might want to know, hey, what are my technicians for this area? Let me make sure they're okay. Let me make sure they have the supplies they need. Let me let their managers know what's coming to expect an increased workload. And so that's what we're going to show here in our SmartList. We'll go ahead and add a table, Microsoft Dynamics GP table in this case. And here's the drop-down for all of the field service tables. And since the primary thing we want to know is the technician's information, we'll pull up the technician master table. And it lists here the key field of tech ID, and this is a field you more advanced SQL users might be familiar with key fields. So this will link between different tables, and so it's good that we have tech ID in common with our other field service tables. So we'll go ahead and click Save, and we have a list of all of the field names in the technician master table. And let me go ahead and take a step back. You might be wondering, how do you know it's a technician master table? Well, I'm a Dynamics GP consultant. They pay me to know this. But if you don't know what table, please ask someone here at IBIS. We are experts at looking up which tables correspond to which windows in GP. That's not always easy to know, so don't be worried if you're not sure which table to use. Just ask us. Our consultants can find that very quickly if you're trying to make a custom SmartList, or if you need to know the table for any other feature with GP. Let's go ahead and select Tech ID, Name, Address 1, City, State, Zip Code, and Manager. Now, Manager is not populated by default in Fabricam, but if you're using field service in a production company, odds are you do have the manager defined for your technicians. and select phone number number 1, and technician email. And so by selecting this as default, all of these are going to display in our smart list that we're creating. But you might remember we haven't selected service area yet. And this is where SmartList Builder is really nice. We can go to the technician service area table, similar to how we opened up the technician master table. Select that table, and we're linking it to the technician master table with an equals, and this will return the data from both tables. But we need to give it a link, and as you might remember, the key field was technician ID. So we'll go ahead and add the link from the technician master fields. Let's scroll down to tech ID. There we go. And for technician service area, there are only 3 fields in that table. Luckily, one of them is tech ID. And so now we save it, and we select the service area to display by default, as we already have technician ID selected for technician master, and last day edited isn't particularly relevant to this smart list. Let's go over to columns, and we can select our column ordering. Let's go ahead and move up service area to the top. That's pretty relevant, and so we like to see that display pretty close to the beginning of our smart list. Okay, once we're happy with this, we can go ahead and save it, and we can go ahead and save this SmartList Builder project. And close it. Now we go to the Dynamics GP menu again and click Smart List. And SmartList Builder will detect that you've added an additional smart list and ask you to make these changes now. This is a similar prompt you get to whenever you make any change with GP, whether that's installing a new customization or ISV. And so in general, it's always best to go ahead and let GP do its thing and add in this new data. So go ahead and click yes, it'll run through quickly. And here's our familiar smart list window. Let's go ahead and go to field service and technician service areas. We'll see this in our list of the default smart list, but you can tell this is definitely not a default one. This is a smart list builder smart list. We can maximize it and view the data here, sort as usual as you would with smart list, and see, okay, these are all my central technicians. This is the address that is listed for their username. Manager, like I said, is not populated, but if you're using field service in production, you probably would have this populated. And here's the phone number and the email we can reach them at, maybe alert them for something relevant to their service area. And while it's pretty easy to sort through your data here in SmartList, if you're more comfortable in Excel, just click the Excel button. You can highlight all the fields and sort and filter with the familiar Excel interface. You know, maybe you just want to see your central service area technicians. There you go. And so that concludes the demo for SmartList Builder and Field Service. We'll go ahead and switch back over to our PowerPoint. And if you have any questions, send those to info@ibis.inc, and we will be able to answer your questions about SmartList Builder. If you would like to get that module, we can help you with that. But thank you for attending the webinar. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you enjoy SmartList Builder.